The millionaire's daughter never spoke until a trash can told her the devastating truth. In the heart of Brixton Heights, where every shiny mansion seemed to hold secrets beneath its veneer, lived Vivian Montgomery, the enigma that left even the most vocal gossipers scratching their heads in disbelief. This wasn't just any girl. This was the millionaire's daughter who never spoke a word in public. Not a peep. Not once in her 20 years. The whispers filled the air like smoke. Was she cursed? Or was it something darker? It was a mystery everyone wanted to crack, but no one dared approach on an unusually bright Tuesday. While the neighborhood buzzed with anticipation, Vivian stepped out for an evening walk. Clad in a flowing lavender dress that danced with the wind, her deep emerald eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief. The world turned its head as if sensing something monumental would happen that day. As she strolled, a sudden loud crash echoed behind her. It was the trash can tipping over, spilling its unsightly contents into the gutter. An ominous, unmistakable omen. The clatter pulled at the townsfolk, who leaned in closer, eyes widening. What could this girl possibly have to gain from a single loud trash can? As Vivian stopped to gaze at the mess, a fragile piece of paper fluttered out, caught by the faint breeze. It danced through the air like fate itself had chosen to intervene. The onlookers leaned forward, breath held, waiting. But then silence. Every sycophant, every side-taker, left momentarily speechless. No one had the courage to interrupt a moment so charged. Not in the sight of the girl whose tongue was a locked vault. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A tense air hung around them. Just as people were starting to whisper among themselves, Vivian snapped back, clutching that paper with trembling fingers. Her heart raced like a runaway train. What did it say? Could it be the answer they all sought? The piece of paper was torn and crinkled, its contents an electrifying secret that threatened to blow apart the illusion of her silence. And then just like that, her lips parted for the first time. The crowd held its breath, each person caught in a grip of shared suspense. Was this the moment they'd all been waiting for? What truth lay hidden behind the girl who said nothing? Eyes locked on her lips, the world could only ask one question: would she speak? Or would they remain cloaked in mystery? A gasp echoed through the crowd. Vivian inhaled deeply, her chest tight, as if the weight of her silence was pressing down on her. Her eyes darted nervously to the faces around her. What must they think? But in that fleeting moment, with adrenaline pumping, she felt something shift inside. A strange urge to free the truth. As she began, her voice barely above a whisper, raw and unrefined. The word hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Agreement rippled through the onlookers. Murmurs bounced back and forth. Did she just say something? Wait, what did she say? But Vivian's voice faltered, suffocated by fear. It was a feeling she'd known for years. As her heart pounded in her ears, she focused on the piece of paper, her salvation and her curse. The writing displayed a name one she'd never spoken aloud before. The name was a spark in a dry forest, igniting gasps that erupted like a sudden storm. Oh, they knew that name. Lucas Harold, the boy from the wrong side of town, a tragic figure obscured by the wealth and glitz of Brixton Heights. They branded him a troublemaker, a lost cause. But what connection did he have with Vivian? The crowd leaned in closer, cells of excitement electrifying the air, forming a pulse that beat in unison. I can't believe this, whispered Claire, an older woman with meticulously coiffed hair who'd never been shy in her judgments. It's rumored he's been trouble since he was a kid. Vivian shook her head, her heart racing. Suddenly she felt trapped in the crosshairs of a gun. Her gaze flitted around the spectators. Every eye was glued to her, every ear straining to capture her truth. The paper in her hand felt like a lifeline, a rope thrown into turbulent waters. With trembling hands she began to read it aloud. The truth brings light and darkness too. Secrets that bind us will not unchain with silence. Her throat tightened as she read further. You were once everything, Vivian, But you can never forget before she could finish. A sharp voice cut through the tension. What's that supposed to mean? Peter, the local bully, taunted, leaning forward with contempt. Is this some kind of joke? Vivian's resolve wavered. The strength she'd summoned flickered before their judgment. No, it's not a joke. She swallowed hard, willing her voice to rise above the jeers. Lucas, yes, more than you think. Each word felt like a chisel breaking through the stone of her silence, exposing the cracks of her hidden world. She had to reveal the truth, to liberate the story she held captive for so long. The scorn in the air buzzed like wasps, but she took a deep breath, her emerald eyes gleaming with determined fire. Yes, my brother. Shock waves rolled through the crowd, a collective intake of breath. Whispers turned into heated discussions. The once curious eyes now looked on, startled, confronting a revelation they hadn't seen coming. Vivian stood tall despite her wobbly knees. In that stillness she felt a flicker of hope, the first glimmer of freedom from her own silence. But then a shadow flicked behind the crowd, a figure hidden from view, lurking as if waiting for the perfect moment. As her heart thudded, she sensed the dark transformation of the moment. Did they all just stumble into an even greater mystery, a truth not just about her, but about someone watching from afar? What else might unravel in this twisted tale? The figure stepped forward, and for the first time Vivian's breath hitched with fear, realizing that not all secrets are hers to tell. The atmosphere shifted, a frigid wave of tension crashing down as the silhouette emerged from the crowd. It was a man tall and imposing, with an air of authority that made Vivian's breath quicken. She squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of his face, but the sun low on the horizon cast a shadow heavy enough to conceal his expressions. What do you want? She managed to call out, though the words felt caught in her throat, mingling with fear. The murmurs from the audience faded, giving way to a piercing silence. The man took a step forward, and the crowd instinctively recoiled, a ripple of unease running through them. He was dressed sharply in a tailored suit, the kind that whispered power and influence. Recognition struck her like a lightning bolt. She'd seen this man before in whispered conversations, in hushed tones at dinner tables, where laughter faded into serious discussions about the Harold family. Vivian, he said, his voice low and gravelly, slicing through the panic. You shouldn't be here. That single sentence held a weight far greater than she understood. Every word dripped with implicit threats and veiled warnings. The crowd shifted uneasily, eyes flickering between Vivian and the mystery man. Who are you? She shot back, searching for courage in the depths of her own spirit. His lips formed a slight, almost mocking smile. A friend. More like a ghost from the past. A voice called out from the back, familiar yet distant. Ralph, the rebellious spirit of the neighborhood, had arrived late, his typically cocky demeanor temporarily replaced with confusion. Keep your distance, buddy. The man turned subtly toward Ralph, his eyes narrowing ever so slightly. This doesn't concern you, Ralph? As confusion reigned over the gathering, tension broke into a frenzy of whispers and speculative glances. Someone shouted, he knows her. Vivian felt exposed, the weight of judgment, fear and curiosity pressing down on her like a heavy fog. You know Lucas? She pressed, her voice wavering. What do you know about him? A flicker of hesitation crossed the man's face, but it was brief. He stepped closer, the air thickening between them. More than you think. Your brother is tangled in a web far beyond anything you can comprehend. Crisis collided with truth, and for a fleeting moment, hope danced in her chest, only to be snuffed out by the reality of it all. What do you mean? You're lying. He didn't flinch or fluster. Instead, his expression hardened, revealing a man who had navigated dark waters. He's in grave danger, Vivian. You need to listen, then tell me the truth. She interrupted, her heart thumping with urgency. What's at stake? The crowd was a living entity, breathing anticipation and jitters into the air. The man hesitated again, glancing at the faces that surrounded them, uncertainty rippling in his dark gaze. Your mother, she knew more than you could ever imagine. Her mother? Vivian felt the world around her falter. This was far more than she ever bargained for, far deeper than the roots of their troubles. The shadows of her past danced grotesquely with painful memories of family secrets she'd pushed aside. Before she could open her mouth, the figure raised a hand, halting her. You need to understand, Vivian. If you dig deeper, You may unearth things that are better left buried. Another shudder swept through her. A chill that spoke not only to her mind but leapfrogged into her very soul. And then, just as the moment felt finally poised for release, a loud crash echoed behind them, something heavy toppling over. Heads snapped toward the noise, and the figure's already tense expression became a mixture of alarm and predatory focus. "Get back!" he shouted, cutting through the chaos. The crowd buzzed with uncertainty, voices escalating, faces stretching into masks of fear. With her heart pounding, Vivian knew that the truth she longed to uncover had now unleashed elements she hadn't anticipated. Nerves crackling like a live wire. She knew this was only the beginning. What more was hidden in the shadows that surrounded her? Life? And just how far would she go to find out? The sudden crash shook the ground beneath them, echoing through the atmosphere like a thunderclap. Items scattered, and a trash can lay toppled to its side, spilling its contents, a ragged old newspaper, crushed soda cans, and something glinting slightly in the dimming light. Vivian's heart raced as she strained to see what had rolled away from the wreckage. The crowd murmured, a collective shudder running through them. She could feel their eyes scrutinizing every move, every flicker of emotion on her face. But all her focus was on the figure ahead. The mysterious man stepped forward, his posture tense like a coiled spring. "Stay close to me," he instructed, his voice low and commanding. "Why?" she snapped, defiance surging within her. "What do you know that I don't?" Before he could respond, a shadow darted past him, unseen by most, but Vivian spotted it, a fleeting figure slipping through the crowd. Whoever it was, they knew how to disappear into the chaos, and a cold sensation slithered down Vivian's spine. "Wait!" she called out, instinctively chasing after the shadow, her feet pounding against the pavement. The crowd parted reluctantly, their whispers trailing after her like hunting hounds. The silhouette paused, glancing back, revealing a flash of terrified eyes. It was gone before Vivian could reach out, disappearing into the darkening alleyway just beyond the festival lights. "Vivian, come back!" The man's voice called out, but she pushed on, urgency driving her forward like an unquenchable fire. She needed answers, needed to know if this was connected to Lucas, and to the secrets wrapped around their family like a shroud. The alley loomed ahead, shadows thickening and wrapping around her. The noise from the crowd faded into a muffled hum, the bright lights of the festival a distant echo. She could feel it now, the pulse of something serious and dangerous lurking just ahead. Suddenly, a rough hand grabbed her shoulder from behind. She spun, ready to confront whatever danger awaited her. But it was only Ralph, his features pale with concern. "Vivian, it's not safe. We should go back." "No," she shouted, her voice breaking. "If there's something happening, if my brother is involved, then I have to find out. I can't just." A second crash rang out behind them, a clatter of bins, and the weight of their precarious situation crashed down hard. The man had followed, and his expression was a storm. "Stay close," he commanded again, eyes scanning the shadows behind them. But Vivian's focus had shifted. She could see something gleaming just a little further down the alley, half hidden in the darkness. It called to her, promising hidden truth and daunting revelations. She took a step forward, her heart hammering, feeling the blend of fear and defiance igniting like a match in a dry forest. "What if you find out what your mother hid?" he asked, his voice a mixture of urgency and desperation, piercing through her thoughts. "What if it changes everything you've known?" The question echoed in her mind, a haunting reminder of the family secrets and the weight of history pressing down on her as she reached for the gleaming object. A harsh gasp broke free from Ralph's lips. "Vivian, don't!" But it was too late. She closed her fingers around the object, and time seemed to stop, yet the world around her spiraled into chaos. The moment felt electric, and the realization that whatever lay ahead could shatter her reality loomed like a great tidal wave. What truth could she possibly find? And was she ready for its devastating fallout? In that breathless second, she grasped the cold metal only to hear the echo of footsteps approaching swiftly behind her. Would they claim the truth she'd just unearthed, along with everything she held dear? Everything in her teetered on the brink. Just as everything seemed poised for revelation, the shadows lengthened around her and a voice called from the darkness, "You shouldn't have come here, Vivian." What more would she lose in this crumbling web of secrets? And how far was she willing to go to uncover the truth? Vivian squeezed the metallic object in her palm, its cool surface grounding her in a moment that felt surreal. The alley grew colder. The air thickened with dread. Ralph's anxiety hung in the air, palpable, and she could see him glancing over his shoulder, fear written all over his face. "Vivian, we need to go," he urged, his voice cracking. "Whatever it is, it's not worth it." But the voice, lingering in the shadows, clung to her like a haunting whisper. "You shouldn't have come here," it teased her, taunted her with the promise of clarity or disaster. "Who are you?" she called, her voice trembling yet fierce. The shadows shifted and she steeled herself, recalling the stories swirling around her family, a tapestry of half-truths and misconceptions. Was this a piece of it? A thread she was about to unravel? A figure stepped forward, obscured by the lingering gloom. Their features shifted dramatically as they moved. "You think you have the right to seek the truth?" they snarled, each word charged with venom. "Some truths were meant to stay buried, Vivian. Like your brother." Her breath caught in her throat. Lucas. Why did his name hang like an executioner's axe above her head? "What do you know about him?" she challenged, adrenaline pumping through her veins. "Enough," the voice growled with contempt. It took another step forward, revealing a face twisted with familiar anger, a face that jolted buried memories to the surface. It was someone she once trusted, now a specter of danger. "Isaac." Vivian gasped, the name breaking free like a spell shattering. It felt strange to see him here. His eyes lit with a dark fury. "You should have left well enough alone," he spat, advancing closer, shadows coiling around him. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." The metal object in her hand pulsed with urgency, urging her to take control, to confront the demons hiding within her family's past. Yet dread welled inside her. Was it encouragement? Or a warning? "Tell me where Lucas is. What have you done?" Her voice came out louder, harder, pushing through her fear. "We did what we had to do," Isaac shot back, a cruel smile tainting his lips. "Your family isn't innocent, Vivian. Not like you think. You're just a pawn in a game much larger than you realize." Before she could respond, the man from earlier surged into the alley, blinking back disbelief as he scanned the scene. "Isaac, step away from her." He positioned himself closer to Vivian, the protective gleam in his eyes unmistakable. "It's too late, soldier. You think you can handle this?" Isaac smirked, eyes flicking between them, ready to explode into violence. Vivian's heart raced, fear and confusion washing over her. Who could she trust? The words flickered in her mind like a faulty light bulb. How far had Isaac gone? What conflict lay between them, piecing together the fragmented past that threatened to consume them all? Ralph gripped her shoulder tighter, panic mingled with determinism swirling in his gaze. "We need to leave, Vivian. Now." Yet, the gleaming object whispered promises of secrets long buried. She hesitated, knowing the risk but drawn to it like a moth to flame. If she only pushed through. Suddenly another crash echoed from the mouth of the alley, diverting her focus. A surge of darkness swept over, and the figure vanished as quickly as they appeared. What was that? Ralph's voice trembled, filled with dread. "What if something is coming?" she whispered, vulnerability snaking through her resolve. Electric tension crackled in the air, time warping as danger loomed closer. Shadows loomed long and skeletal, creating an almost claustrophobic chokehold as Vivian's breath hitched in her throat. The voice from before crept back, words wrapped in menace and intrigue. "You'll wish you never came here," with uncertainty hanging heavily. A new question loomed. How far was this tangled web of secrets willing to stretch, and would the truth destroy them all before they could grasp it fully? Ralph's grip on Vivian tightened as the tension twisted in the alley like an iron vice. Confusion swirled in her mind, but the metal object remained a stubborn weight in her palm, pulsing with unvoiced urgency. She glanced at Ralph, who was scanning their surroundings, his eyes darting between the shadows, his expression a blend of determination and raw fear. "Vivian, we have to move. I mean it." His voice was a harsh whisper, insistent. "But what if we're close?" She shot back, her heart racing with a mix of fear and intrigue. "What if this is the key to finding Lucas? Or it's a trap?" Ralph said sharply, stepping closer, shielding her with his body. "We don't know what's really going on here." Before she could argue, the distant sound of heavy footsteps echoed, drawing nearer. Her body tensed like a coiled spring. The shadows seemed to swell around them, dark and hungry. Isaac, she breathed, memory clinging to other moments, distant laughter, shared secrets now tainted with betrayal. But this wasn't just about him anymore. It was about Lucas. The truth tangled like threads of a fraying rope. The footsteps grew louder, and a figure emerged, blotting out the faint light filtering through the alley. For a second, Vivian thought it might be Isaac returning, but the silhouette seemed bulkier, menacing in a way that felt different with each step. Ralph stepped protectively in front of her as the figure stepped into the dim glow of the street lamp. It was a man unnaturally tall, dressed in dark clothing that clung to him like a second skin. His face was masked, the eyes glinting like a predator's. "What are you doing here?" he growled, voice low and gravelly. "Who are you?" Ralph demanded, standing his ground. "This is none of your business." "Everything that happens here is my business," the man replied, his voice dripping with disdain. "Especially when you're meddling in things you can't comprehend." The weight of the moment pressed on Vivian like a physical force. The aura of danger crackled like electricity in the air. Her mind raced. Could this be another link in the chain leading to Lucas? Or was it just another distraction? "Back up," the figure ordered, taking a step forward. "Not a chance," Ralph shot back defiantly. "You're not scaring us," but before he could finish, the man lunged, moving faster than Vivian expected. Ralph's protective stance faltered as he instinctively pushed Vivian aside, taking the brunt of the attack. Stumbling back, he landed harshly against the damp alley wall. "Ralph!" she screamed, panic overtaking her. The attacker spun, his focus shifting toward Vivian. A flicker of surprise crossed his features, but it quickly morphed into a sinister grin. Well, if it isn't the Millionaire'S daughter. I didn't think you'd show your face here. Your father has a lot to answer for." Vivian's stomach dropped. How much did he know? The swirling fog of her family's secrets slammed into her, heavy and suffocating. "Leave us alone," Vivian shouted, raising the cold metal object as if it were a shield. A defiance that felt both brave and foolish. But the attacker laughed, a chilling sound that echoed into the depths of the alley. "You have no idea what you're holding, do you?" His words struck her. Was this metal object more than a key to an answer, perhaps something dangerous? Something that belonged to the world she was unearthing? Ralph scrambled to his feet, determination shining through the haze of pain. "Get away from her." The man smirked. "Oh, you should be worried about yourselves, especially if the truth is out there." Vivian clutched the object tighter, pulse roaring in her ears. She could feel the walls closing in. With every beat, adrenaline surged through her. She would not falter. "Tell me what you know about Lucas," she barked, her voice carrying an edge of desperation. But the man only stepped back, retreating into the shadows without another word. "You'll find out. It's only a matter of time." As he disappeared, the oppressive silence returned, wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. Ralph turned, eyes wide. "What just happened?" he whispered, breathing hard. Vivian's heart pounded like a drum in her chest, the weight of the secrets pressing down on her. "Something's not right. We need to figure this out." The air thrummed with uncertainty. Her grasp on the object was her only sense of power against the storm of chaos brewing around them. But what if the truth was more frightening than the darkness looming in the alley? And what if lurking secrets were just waiting for the perfect moment to strike? Vivian's breath caught as Ralph's panic turned to urgency. "We can't stay here. Not with him around." He darted a glance down the alley and reached for her hand. "Let us go now." Pulling her along, they stumbled away from the dim light of the street lamp, fear propelling them deeper into the twisting alleys. The shadows danced around them, whispering secrets as they moved. "Ralph," she gasped, her voice echoing off the cold brick walls. "What if he comes back? What if he knows something about Lucas?" Ralph's grip tightened, but he remained focused. "Then we need to be ready. We can't let him catch us off guard again. We have to find somewhere safe." Their footsteps quickened against the cobblestones. Tension tangled in the air, a thick fog of uncertainty. Vivian's mind raced. The strange man's words replayed in her head like a haunting melody. The darkness felt alive, and the weight of the metal object in her pocket glowed faintly, urging her to understand. They turned a corner, skirting away from the main roads, and found themselves standing in front of an old storage unit. Paint peeled off its doors. The air carried the sharp scent of rust and decay. "Should we look inside?" Ralph whispered, scanning their surroundings. I don't know, Vivian replied, biting her lip. The thought of more shadows lurking within the dark corners sent a shiver down her spine. But it was the perfect hiding spot. Their eyes met and Ralph nodded. Let us check it out. We need answers and Lucas, he needs us. They stepped into the unit, excitement and fear swirling within them. Inside, it was a cramped space filled with cobwebs and forgotten relics. Old crates piled haphazardly like forgotten dreams. Grimy boxes lay strewn across the floor. Vivian moved cautiously, peering into a box marked with smudged labels. Look, she said, pulling out a stack of dusty photographs. Her heart raced as she leafed through them. Faces smiled back at her, some familiar, others not. But what caught her eye was a picture hidden at the bottom. A group of people gathered closely. The man from the alley stood there, his eyes piercing. Beside him was Lucas, a smile plastered on his face. Ralph. She held the picture up, her hands trembling. It's Lucas. With him, tension spiked as a noise broke the silence. A scraping sound coming from outside the unit. They froze, hearts pounding. Did you hear that? Ralph whispered, eyes wide. Maybe it's just a rat, Vivian suggested, though her voice faltered. No, it's too loud for that, Ralph said, moving to peek through a crack in the door. The door burst open, a blur of motion. The tall man barged in, shadow enveloping him like a cloak. Looking for answers? He sneered, eyes flaring with a wicked glint. Vivian's heart plummeted. Ralph pushed her behind him, muscles tensed for a fight. Why are you doing this? Ralph shouted, his voice strong but quaking with fear. What do you want with us? The man stepped forward, his figure filling the doorway, an unyielding wall of menace. You're looking in the wrong place for your answers. Lucas is not who you think he is, and neither are you. The weight of his words choked the air between them. Vivian's mind whirred. What do you mean? She demanded, the spark of confusion firing up into a flame of desperation. But the man only chuckled, shaking his head. You'll find out soon enough. Few survive. He lunged toward them, but Ralph darted to the side, grabbing hold of a nearby crate, hurling it toward the intruder. It crashed at his feet, giving them precious seconds. Run! Ralph yelled, and Vivian didn't hesitate. They pushed past the man, out into the narrow street. Adrenaline surging through their veins, they sprinted into the night. But the man's dark laughter echoed behind them, chilling to the bone. Keep looking for the truth, Vivian. You may not like what you find. As they dashed through the tangled web of shadows, Vivian's mind raced. What truth lay buried? What darkness awaited in the next turn? Would discovering Lucas's connection bring her closer to him, or to the nightmare that lurked in her past? The chase wasn't over, and the shadows on their heels felt more like predator than mere darkness. The alley closed in around them, the cool night air heavy with the stench of fear and decay. Every breath felt like a struggle as they rushed away from the storage unit. Ralph's hand firmly clasped around Vivian's wrist, pulling her forward. Her heart thudded in her chest like a war drum, each beat pushing her closer to an unknown fate. Where to now? Vivian panted, casting a quick glance over her shoulder. The man had given chase, his laughter menacing, wrapping around her like a shroud. She could almost feel his presence lurking behind them, a shadow hot on their trail. Ralph gritted his teeth. There's a bar up ahead, he pointed, his voice steady despite the chaos. If we can make it there, we might find someone who can help. Help? The word felt hollow, but Vivian nodded, clinging to the sliver of hope. They sprinted toward the dim light spilling from the bar's entrance, the sound of muted conversation and laughter barely audible over the pounding of their hearts. With one last effort, they burst through the swinging doors, gasping for breath. The bar was lively, the crowd oblivious to the storm raging just outside. Ralph quickly led Vivian to a secluded booth in the corner, where they ducked down behind the worn leather seating. We need to catch our breath, Ralph whispered, eyes scanning the room. And we need a plan. Vivian's pulse throbbed in her temples. She felt exposed, like every pair of eyes suddenly belonged to the man pursuing them. What about Lucas? He's out there alone, she breathed, trembling. The image of Lucas smiling in that photograph haunted her. Was he in danger? Lucas, he's part of this, Ralph said firmly, his brow furrowing. I don't know how, but that man knows something. We have to understand whatever it is before it's too late. Vivian's fingers instinctively brushed the cold metal object in her pocket. It felt like an anchor in the tempest of emotions swirling inside her. What if this whatever it is can help us figure it out? Ralph's eyes narrowed, clarity seeping into his tense expression. Let us look at it. They both pulled the object, a key that had seemed useless at first, out into the dim light of the booth. Its surface glimmered, but it was the engraved initials that caught Vivian's breath once more. RL? She whispered, recalling the giant shadow's voice in the unit. Is it his? But before Ralph could respond, the atmosphere in the bar shifted. The door swung open with a force that sent a ripple through the crowd. A rush of cold air accompanied a figure stepping inside. A silhouette cloaked in darkness. Vivian's heart sank. It was him. The man from the alley. Looking for answers? He called out, his voice dripping with mockery. The bar-goers stole glances, confused frowns forming across their faces. The man moved through them unflinching, their disbelief offering him a twisted sense of power. Ralph grasped Vivian's arm, urgency coursing through him. We have to get out. Now. They bolted from their seat, slipping unnoticed towards the entrance. Ralph backed into her path. Wait. His eyes darted around the bar, searching for a distraction. He is holding something over us. We need to take it from him. Vivian shook her head, panic rising. Are you crazy? He is dangerous. I won't let him draw blood again, not while we have a chance, Ralph insisted, determination igniting in his gaze. We need to unveil the truth, even if it means standing up to him. With a shuddering breath, Vivian nodded. She felt the weight of the key in her palm, newly daunting. Was this what they needed to confront him? The man turned, catching their eye. You really think you can run away from the truth? He boomed. A contour of his smirk twisted into something far darker. The crowd was backing away, feeling the tension crackle as if a storm was brewing. Vivian felt the rumble of dangerous adrenaline. This ends tonight, she shouted, surprising even herself. Ralph squeezed her hand, empowerment blooming among the swirling chaos. Together they stepped forward, ready to uncover the secrets binding their fates before they vanished forever. But would they find the answers they sought, or only more shadows lying in wait? The bar erupted in whispers, the laughter of patrons giving way to a palpable tension heavy in the air. Vivian's heart raced, an electric mix of fear and defiance surging through her veins. The man's presence loomed large, a dark cloud swallowing the flickering lights of the bar. Step back, Ralph growled, positioning himself slightly in front of Vivian. The band of his muscles coiling tightened, ready to spring into action. Fear pulsed through Vivian, but beneath it all, a flicker of determination ignited. Answers? She shouted defiantly. You think you can scare us into silence? We know something you don't. It was a wild move, throwing those words out like a challenge, but she was done hiding. The man's eyes sparkled with twisted delight. Oh, do tell. What exactly do you think you know? He took a step forward, the crowd retreating further as if instinctively sensing the confrontation brewing. Vivian fought the urge to look away. I know who you are. Her voice trembled but held steady. You're hiding behind lies, but they won't protect you anymore. Ralph turned to her, confusion etched across his face. What are you doing? He hissed under his breath. Ignoring him, Vivian felt the weight of the key in her hand grow heavier, almost pulsing. Ralph, we need to confront him. We can't just stand back. The man let out a low chuckle, a sound that sent shivers crawling up Vivian's spine. You really believe you have anything on me? Yes, Ralph barked out, a fire igniting behind his eyes. You're going to tell us everything about Lucas and why you've been chasing us. The man's expression soured for a moment, a flicker of something rage? Fear. Crossing his features before he regained his composure. You think you're in control? How quaint. A sudden crash of glass shattered the tension, drawing every eye in the bar to the far corner where an unruly group seemed to squabble. In that moment of distraction, the man turned his focus, a sneer curling at the corners of his mouth. Don't go getting too comfortable, he warned. You're in way over your heads. He stepped away, disappearing into the shadows, his confidence unfurling like smoke one moment there. The next a mere wisp of malice. Ralph, what do we do? Vivian whispered urgently, her heart still thudding violently. We can't let him get away. We need to figure out what's really going on, Ralph said, shifting gears. The key, it must lead somewhere. But just as they began piecing their thoughts together, a commotion erupted again behind them, and a figure swept between the booths. Lucas. His face was stormy, spattered with the remnants of fear that mirrored their own. Vivian. Ralph. He shouted, his voice a frantic plea. You need to listen to me. He is not who you think he is. Vivian's heart dropped. What do you mean? Lucas took a moment, his eyes darting around the room as if assessing unseen dangers. We're all in danger, and I can explain everything, but we need to leave. Now. Fear and urgency coiled together, sending waves of adrenaline coursing through Vivian. An unsettling sense of doom befell them, the wall closing in once again. Where's the exit? Ralph's voice broke through the mounting panic. The answer hung heavy on her lips, but a deafening crash interrupted this time, the door splintering open to reveal the man, flanked by two of his imposing friends. Going somewhere? He drawled, the twisted grin stretching across his face causing Vivian to tremble at the sight. Run! Lucas yelled, his voice tearing through the chaos. With one unified breath they took off, weaving through the sea of bodies, hearts racing, breaths coming in quick bursts. The sound of footsteps echoed behind them, a relentless pursuit urging them further into the unknown. But as they burst through the back door into the alley, the air rapidly chilled, a new kind of darkness swallowing them whole. What now? Vivian gasped, searching their surroundings while the distant sounds of revelers faded behind them. Lucas clenched his fists. The answers are out there, but we have to get past him first before he closes in on us. And in that moment of desperation, one truth loomed larger than all others. Survival would require them to confront the darkness head-on, whatever it may carry. But did they truly have the strength, or were they merely pawns in a game that had yet to unfold? Vivian's eyes darted between Ralph and Lucas, their faces a mixture of fear and determination. They were enveloped in shadows now, the thrill of the chase mingling with the chill of uncertainty. As they caught their breath, the alley felt like a maze, every moment pressing in on them. Lucas, Vivian said, her voice trembling. You need to tell us everything. What did you mean back there? He nodded, shoulders tense. The man, he's Paul Whitmore. He's got his hands in everything and he uses people like pawns. But we have to get out of here first. Before anyone could respond, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed behind them, clawing at the very essence of their courage. Vivian's heart raced as panic surged. We can't let him catch us. He knows too much. There's a way out. Lucas said urgently. Follow me. They turned and fled down the alley, skirting around piles of debris, moving deeper into the labyrinth of Brixton Heights. With every footfall, dread nestled into her stomach. The darkness dripped with secrets threatening to shatter their resolve. As they emerged onto a narrow street lined with dimly lit streetlights, Lucas suddenly stopped short, scanning their surroundings. This way, he hissed, leading them around a corner into a small courtyard where the sounds of the festival faded to a distant hum. I didn't come back just for fun, Lucas admitted, glancing over his shoulder. I've been followed. Whitmore's men, they're everywhere. Why didn't you tell us sooner? Ralph breathed, frustration bubbling over. I thought I could handle it. Lucas shot back, but his voice softened. The truth is, Vivian, our families were tied together long before we were born. They've kept us apart for a reason. Vivian felt her heart constrict. You mean our parents? Yes. Secrets run deeper than anyone realizes. Your mother, she knew. She wanted to protect you, he said, urgency lacing his every word. The weight of the metal object in Vivian's pocket pressed into her side. This key felt pivotal, almost pulsating with purpose. The key, Lucas. It's connected somehow. It has initials on it, R. L. Lucas paled. R. L. Ralph's father? The realization hung in the air like an impending storm. We need to understand what it opens, Ralph said. Maybe it's crucial to breaking this cycle. Vivian nodded, determination roaring to life within her. Then we find out. Before they could devise a plan, a chilling voice called from behind. Leaving already? Not so fast. Every breath wavered, time stretching thin as they turned to find Whitmore stepping out of the shadows, flanked by two imposing figures. He wore a smirk that seemed to wrap around him like smoke. Did you think you could escape? Leave us alone. Vivian shouted, her heart pounding like thunder. Paul's eyes glimmered with cruel delight. You have something that belongs to me. Hand over the key, and there may be mercy for you. No way, Ralph said fiercely, stepping in front of Vivian. We'd rather face you than betray anyone. Brave words for such foolish souls. His men moved forward. Ralph clenched his fists, glancing back at Vivian. We need to find somewhere to hide. But Lucas stood firm. No. This ends now. He took a step toward Whitmore. I know what you did. I figured it all out. You're hiding the truth, and it's time everyone knew. Whitmore's smile fell, replaced by a rapid-fire indignation. You have no idea what you're meddling with. This is bigger than you three. Vivian felt her chest tighten. We're not afraid. Good. Fear is the least of your problems. You can either hand it over, or I'll make sure none of you see the light of tomorrow. His voice was cold, filled with the promise of violence, and in that moment, rage seeped into Vivian's veins. You think you can control us? You don't know what we're capable of. Whitmore laughed, a harsh, biting sound. You're just children playing a very dangerous game. Then, as if the universe conspired to shift momentum, the ground trembled, rattling under their feet. A loud explosion, inaudible yet potent, exploded behind Whitmore and his men, concrete dust swirling in. A swirling mass. Get back! Ralph yelled as they all instinctively drew back, eyes wide with shock. Using the moment of distraction, Lucas surged forward, forcing his way past the thugs. Now! He shouted. Vivian and Ralph followed on instinct, pushing through the chaos, racing away. As they turned a corner onto a quieter road, adrenaline surged through them as if they had shed the lingering shadows of their pursuers. The world became a blur, each heartbeat echoing in their ears as they sought refuge. But as they stood panting against a wall, Lucas caught Vivian's gaze. We need to figure out what that key unlocks. We can't let Whitmore win, not now. With renewed energy, Vivian gripped the key, determination solidifying in her chest. Then let us go. Together. No more secrets. The three of them turned back, energy pumping through their veins like wildfire. Together they began to walk towards the unknown, needing answers, needing to reclaim their lives from the chokehold of shadows. As a new dawn began to break over Brixton Heights, Vivian felt a flicker of hope. This was the moment. They would uncover the truth that could tear the world of their parents apart, or unify them. Whatever came, they would face it together. Let us end this, she whispered, looking at the two boys standing firmly at her side. Somewhere deep within, she knew she would no longer hide behind silence. She would roar into the night. In the heart of Brixton, the battle for the truth was just beginning. Now the question was, how far would they go for the final revelation? And through local streets buzzing with life, a stirring hope took root. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss our next exclusive stories packed with surprises ahead. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and help keep the dream alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who can't afford to miss out on these twists and turns. Your support matters. Show us you're a true fan.